Sports.
We are Fox. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Today it's the final game of the Tigers' 7-game road swing, and Mother Nature is cooperating. A beautiful day for baseball here in Minneapolis. Welcome inside Target Field, Tigers and the Twins. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Rhode Island, glad to have you with us for the series finale here. Tigers have dropped the first two, a tight one. Last night they lose 6-0, Rod, but they really need a win here today coming back home.
You know, Ron Gardenhire made the comment after last night's contest that he felt like his team didn't have the kind of energy they needed to have to match the intensity of the Minnesota Twins, who've had a lot of energy in the series, and he took full responsibility for that. And he also said his team would come out with much more energy today. They desperately need a win here today. They've got a day off tomorrow, back at it on Friday, but a win is what they need.
All right, they got the big guy on the mound here today, Michael Fulmer. You look at his last start, though, he was dominant for 6 innings, and for some reason in the 7th, the wheels fell off.
You know what? It's tough to figure out right now with Michael Fulmer, but they think they figured out some things. This guy, through the first 6 innings in his last outing, said he's the best he's ever felt as a Detroit Tiger. He threw 89 pitches, 49 of those were 95 and above. He absolutely dominated the Seattle Mariners, but for whatever reason, in a couple of his starts this year, he goes back out there for that 7th frame. He's a little wild, gives up a hit, and the next thing you know, he's out of the contest. I've been told here today that for whatever reason, Michael Fulmer can't get through that 3rd time through the batting order. Has been an issue. They're going to try to figure that out today. So expect Michael Fulmer to go out there and to pitch at least 100 pitches this afternoon against this Minnesota Twins team, who he has a 3-0 record against.
All right, I don't know what it is about the Tigers that brings out the best in Brian Dozier, but he's had a big series. And really, when you go back to the start of 2017, big-time numbers versus Detroit.
You know, I made the comment when we got here a couple of days ago when he was struggling. I think he was about 2 for 30. I said, talk to me when the series is over. Well, here we are again, and here's Brian Dozier doing damage against the Tigers. He's gotten 3 hits in this particular series. All of those hits the opposite way, but he's done major damage in his career against the Tigers. Usually he hits the ball out of the ballpark, but they're throwing him away, so they're giving up singles and doubles. He's basically taking, Mario, what they've been giving him. You can see that in the last 20 games against the Tigers, obviously dating back to last year, this guy's been on base every single game. He's at the top of the batting order today. Michael Fulmer will have to slow him down.
All right, game 3 in the series coming up. Stay with us. More from the ballpark is on the way. Nicholas Castellanos, well, he's one Tiger that keeps on hitting. 4 hits in the series. Stay with us. Twins Tigers coming up. By Kroger. Visit Kroger.com for great deals, digital coupons, and more. Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. And by Jeep. Hurry into the Jeep Celebration event and get a great deal today.
Tigers are going up against Kyle Gibson this afternoon, but it's a different Kyle Gibson. He used to live at the bottom of the strike zone with two-seam fastballs, but the analytics department sent him some information in the offseason, and they told him his best pitch had been his four-seam fastball. So lots of four-seam fastballs for Kyle Gibson these days upstairs. We'll watch for that this afternoon.
After the break, we'll check back into the Call Sam studios with John Keating, Craig Monroe. Lineup's first pitch next. Close out this road trip, and here is the Tigers starting lineup for Game 3 in this series right here at Target Field on a great day. The Tigers starting lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, and for the Tigers it'll be Martin, Castellanos, and Martinez. Nico batting cleanup today, then Hicks and Jacoby Jones. Bottom three, Griner, Iglesias, and Machado. Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Twins, presented by Jeff Glover and Associates Realtors.
He does not have really good numbers here at his own ballpark, Target Field, but overall this season his numbers are not bad. 55 strikeouts for Gibson, who's not known as a strikeout pitcher. The earned run average is under 4. Four-seam fastballs upstairs when he wants to swing and miss. Two-seam fastballs at the bottom of the strike zone when he wants to have ground ball, curveball, slider, changeup, all part of his four-pitch mix.
So it's Martin getting things started for the Tigers. 0 for 8 in the series, and still looking for that first hit since coming off the disabled list. Martin showing bunt, and he offers but misses. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And that's a good idea by Martin, especially a guy that's been struggling with the bat and getting base hits. Why not try to bunt? Gardenhire with a good big smile on his face. He's in a good mood this morning.
Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2 on Martin. Leonis now is 0 for 20 since coming off the disabled list. And they desperately need him to get going again. The Tigers are on the mend. Candelario should be back in the lineup on the homestand.
That last pitch by Gibson, a changeup, was wicked. He's been getting lots of swings and misses as well to left-handers on his curveball.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Leonis.
We've been told that he's going to do a whole lot of that, though, today. Fastball, top of the strike zone, the 4-seam fastball.
Pulled at first base off the glove of Morrison. They'll have no play, and that'll be an infield hit for Martin.
And let's take a look at the defensive alignment behind Kyle Gibson this afternoon. In the outfield, they've got Cave, Buxton, and Kepler. In the infield, up the middle, they've got Andrianza and Dozier. And Dozier won a Gold Glove last year, made a couple of real nice plays in last night's game. Martin finally gets a base hit, and that's really nice recipe for success for the Tigers. Before he went on the disabled list, he was getting on, and whoever was batting second, they were setting the table. Tigers were scoring a lot of runs early in the game.
Line drive fair down the left field line for Castellanos. Martin coming to third base, and he will stop there. The Tigers now in business here, second and third, nobody out.
And we told you that Kyle Gibson is pitching some really good baseball right now, but for whatever reason, whenever the Tigers show up, he does not pitch well. They have had really good numbers against Gibson in his career. Now Tigers are 2 for 2 on this 4-seam fastball, which they knew they were going to get today because he's thrown a lot of them. And how many times are they going to throw Nicholas Castellanos a first pitch strike? Because this is what he does.
Astounding to me. He's done it all series long. That is his 5th hit.
472 with some damage on first pitches this year. Look at the league average, just 326.
Here is Victor Martinez, second and third, nobody out. Tigers trying to get off to a quick start for Michael Fulmer today. Mart fouls it back 0-1.
And generally speaking, Ron Gardenhire, he likes to give Victor the days off after a night game. At age 35, he just feels like that's one way to keep him fresh and to protect his legs. But with a scheduled team day off tomorrow, he felt like that was adequate enough to put Victor in there. And plus, the Tigers, they need his bat in the lineup.
Fly ball right field. Kepler is under it. Martin will tag, and the throw will come back to the middle of the diamond. It'll be a sac fly, an RBI for Martinez, and the Tigers lead 1-0. Well, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box to a participating Arby's location tomorrow. Free small order of curly fries will be yours. Victor getting some high fives, gets an RBI, his 21st of the year.
How about the difference that Martin makes when he gets on base?
Well, Tigers got an early run. It certainly sets the tone. And now here is Nico Goodrum with a man at third and 1 out in field coming in. Ball 1.
And Nico 0 for his last 13. He has played in all 3 games of this series against his former team. Originally drafted by the Minnesota Twins in the 2nd round in 2010.
We continue to see teams playing the infield in the 1st and 2nd innings of games. Here's some of the particulars on Nico. But it seems to be a shift in philosophy. I don't know, I think we've noticed it more this year than any other year.
Yeah, I guess teams just don't want to give away that run early.
Swing and a miss.
Kyle Gibson throws lots of curveballs as well to the left-handed batters. We've seen the changeup. And here's the curveball. And it's a really good, tight curveball.
One and 2 on Nico. Backed him out of there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hicks will be next.
And very important for Nico Goodrum here to put the ball in play. And think about hitting the ball to the big part of the ballpark. You've got to elevate it with the infielders being in. Just make sure you stay in the strike zone. That's the most important thing. Don't leave the strike zone here.
Tigers have done pretty well in day games this year. They are over 500, 13 and 11 during day games. And again, the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Goodrum is out of there. 2 gone. First strikeout of the ball game for Gibson.
And Gibson makes a big pitch. And when he needs to make the big pitch, that's his curveball at 87. 29.9% swing and miss rate this season for Kyle Gibson, which is the 8th highest among American League starters.
Infield back now with 2 outs. Hicks looks at ball 1.
Yeah, this much we do know. If Gibson decides to throw John Hicks that 4-seam fastball, John Hicks is going to hit it hard somewhere. John is a really good fastball hitter, and he loves to hunt fastballs in fastball counts.
Back up the middle. Dozier on 1 hop with the backhand. Nice play to win the inning. So the Tigers will settle for 1 run. Michael Fulmer takes the mound for Detroit. First, and the Tigers send Michael Fulmer to the hill, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
In 9 starts this year, Michael Fulmer has only gone past the 100 pitch mark 1 time. That's what he wants to accomplish here today against Minnesota Twins. It's that simple. Michael wants to pitch deep in this game and obviously get his team a W.
Brian Dozier leads it off.
And Michael's got the blazing fastball, 95 to 97. Every now and then he'll touch 98. He's got the wicked slider. He's got a really good changeup. Pretty much just 3 pitches for the talented right-hander.
Dozier, a good series. He has 3 doubles in this series versus the Tigers, and a couple of big ones last night. A 2-run double, an RBI double late.
And surprisingly, all 3 of Dozier's hits in this series have gone the opposite way.
Dozier hammers one to center field and deep. Martinez on the run, still going back to the wall. He looks up, and that ball is on the top of the wall and stuck. Dozier has taken the tour, but they're going to send him back to second. This will be a double. He could not miss a home run by much more than that. Right in the wall and stuck in the seam.
And now the fourth double of the series for Dozier. That ball got up there and just missed by an eyelash of going out. You can see it stuck there. Then after Martin puts both hands up and the umpires recognize it, he reaches up and gets that baseball. Michael Fulmer already going to have to pitch himself out of a jam here.
Here is Max Kepler.
Dozier is a really good high fastball hitter. Look at him climb the ladder and get on top of a fastball, tick above the belt buckle, drilled 410 feet from home plate. Dozier couldn't have been colder from a batting average standpoint before we got to town. He was struggling from an offensive standpoint.
Dozier came into this game with 28 career leadoff home runs, and he very nearly hit another one. Kepler behind 0-2. Fouled away.
Michael has the stuff that he can pitch out of a jam.
Here's the rest of the lineup for the Twins, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You saw Dozier. Kepler's up there now. Rosario and Escobar. Morrison is at first. Cave is in left. Adrianza, Wilson, and Buxton. The bottom three for Paul Molitor. Got him. Strike three. Kepler caught looking.
Oakland University brings you the Tigers starting defense behind the very talented right-hander Michael Fulmer this afternoon in the outfield. It's pretty much how they line up on most nights. The very talented Jacoby Jones in left, Leonis Martin in center, Nicholas Castellanos, he's in right. Infield third to first reach, Goodrum, Iglesias, Machado, and John Hicks. Grayson Griner getting the nod behind the plate today.
Here is Eddie Rosario. 2 out of 6, couple of RBIs in the series, and some nice plays defensively out at left field. Ball one high from Fulmer. You mentioned right at the top of the telecast that Michael just has to find a way to get through that third time through the lineup, and that's critical to him.
No question about that. In his last outing, Michael breezed through 6 innings against the Seattle Mariners, and for whatever reason, he went out there for the 7th frame, walked a couple of batters, gave up a hit. Next thing you know, he was out of the game.
Ball too high. Well, he is considered the Tigers' ace, and so they need to see a few more games in which he will go deeper.
Well, the bullpen desperately needs a rest. I mean, the bullpen has really been taxed on this road trip, so it's very important for Michael to stay within himself and just fill up the strike zone with 95 to 97 mile-per-hour fastballs, uses off-speed pitches as well, and he should be able to really pitch well against his team, which he's 3-0 against in his career.
In his previous 9 starts, Fulmer has gone over 100 pitches only once. It's Chris Mascio, the pitching coach for the Tigers, hoping that he will go deep here this afternoon.
And I love the fact that Michael not afraid to pitch inside aggressively and for strikes, and why not? You've got 95.
The one up top, and Rosario chased. 2-2 on Rosario. Chad Whitson is your home plate umpire today.
I don't think Dozier will try to steal third base here with Rosario in the batter's box because he bats left-handed and he's a good RBI man, but he is 11 of 13 in steals in his career of third base.
Drill to right field. That'll get down a base hit. This will score a run. Dozier coming around, and it's an RBI single for Eddie Rosario.
That's just a really good swing by Rosario. On the previous fastball, it was 95, and Rosario took a really big, kind of wild swing against Fulmer. Fulmer comes right back with the same pitch at 95, the same velocity, and look how short the swing was there of Rosario. He really shortened up his swing. He was able to put the ball in play, and now these guys are in business with a 1 run in the first inning.
Here is Eduardo Escobar. Rosario with his 28th RBI of the year. Right back to the on-deck circle. 0-1 on Escobar. 2-for-7 in the series. 21 driven in this year. It's been a solid campaign for Escobar so far.
And Rosario on first base has 4 steals this year. He's been caught once, so you have to watch him.
Twins are without Joe Mauer on the DL, and Miguel Sano, who is starting a rehab assignment today for the Twins, so they're hoping to get him back soon.
Irvin Santana also not that far off from rejoining their rotation.
They also have Michael Pineda in their organization, who's coming back from surgery, and they're hoping to have him at some point this year. Not anything imminent. One ball, 2 strikes on Escobar. So while the Tigers have plenty of their own players on the DL, it's something that every team has to deal with. I think if you can get through the season without any major injuries for any long stretches of time, those are teams that generally have a better chance. Here's the 1-2 swing and a miss. Down he goes. 2 punch outs now for Fulmer. I mean, this will really test your depth. Guys like Mauer, Sano, Santana, they really, their catcher too.
They really miss his bat. And of course, Joe Mauer was having a really good year. On base percentage, his batting average was up. Joe was swinging the bat like he had swung the bat in the past when the season began.
Here's Logan Morrison.
Already lots of fastballs here thrown by Michael Fulmer, and a lot of those fastballs inside to the left-handed batters.
Rolled foul. Now 0-2 on the slugging Logan Morrison.
That's a good pitch right there by Michael, because the previous pitch was a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Then you come back with a changeup, and basically you're gripping the changeup the same way you grip your fastball, and the hitters really can't pick it up. And then you add in the fact that the miles per hour go down about 10 miles, and that just makes that a tremendous weapon for Michael Fulmer. If you're Morrison, you don't know what you're going to get now. 4-seam up top.
Morrison getting the VMAR treatment defensively. The second baseman Machado is in shallow right field. They play him that deep because he doesn't run all that well, trying to cut down the angle. 1-2 on Morrison. 1 for 6 with an RBI in the series. Lifted toward left field, hit pretty well. Jones on the move. Jacoby runs it down at the wall. That'll end the inning. They get a run on 2 hits, all tied at 1. Now for the Bernstein advantage, Kyle Gibson last season against the Tigers, a 7 ERA.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. And it really doesn't matter how Kyle Gibson is pitching before the Tigers show up. They just seem to give him fits, and they've done that throughout his career.
Jones, Griner, Iglesias here in the Tigers' second. Jacoby trying to bunt, lays it down, foul. Jones showed some life in the ball game last night. A couple of hits, was also hit by a pitch. I think the Tigers would like to see Jones do a little bit more of that, utilize that speed. He was in the throes of a slump before busting out last night. Oh, 2 on Jones. Gibson has faced the Tigers more than any other team in the big leagues. He has seen them 17 times now, counting today. And we've given you the numbers. Recently, at least, they've had very good numbers against the tall righty. Stands 6 feet 6 inches tall, and Jones swings and misses. One away. We check in now with Mickey York.
Yeah, Mario, Matthew Boyd forced to leave last night's game early with an oblique spasm. I caught up with him this morning, said he was feeling just fine. Ron Gardenhire confirmed it was nothing more than an oblique spasm. He actually said it was a cramp. He expects Boyd to be able to go through his normal protocol in between starts, and doesn't anticipate, barring anything unforeseen, him missing his next start. So for all the bad news the Tigers have received on the injury front this year, there's a bit of good news for the Tigers.
All right, Mick, thanks very much. There's a rollout by Griner for the second out of the inning. And when you hear the word oblique, you start to get worried, because that is a type of injury that will linger quite a bit. But you can also tell, Rod, that the way Boyd reacted in coming out of the game and the way he walked up the field, it just kind of seemed like it wasn't serious.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a conversation with Chris Bosio this morning, and he didn't seem to be all that concerned. As a matter of fact, he said that Matthew called him yesterday, even before the game, and told him he was experiencing some cramps on the side, but they obviously felt like he could go out there and pitch. So they were watching him very closely during the course of the broadcast, and that's why they got him out of the game as soon as they did, because they were already aware that he was experiencing that before the game started. Bosio also said that Matthew Boyd works extremely hard in between starts, which all guys do, so they might look at that as well, maybe slowing him down a little bit in between starts.
Escobar makes the nice play, and the ground ball by Iglesias. A snappy 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Gibson. The big money encounter, the Tigers at home and on the road, the numbers are vastly different.
Yeah, 8-18 on the road. Yeah, the run differential -32. And the batting average quite a bit lower. Of course, a lot of those games have been 1- and 2-run affairs, but the Tigers just haven't been able to get those big hits late in games to win some of those contests. If you can look at the ERA, it's not too far off.
Tigers have lost 5 straight on this road trip, so their road record taking a bit of a hit on this trip. Fulmer missing outside to Jake Cave, who is the hitter. Cave, Adrianza, and then Wilson, the 6, 7, 8 men for Minnesota.
And Cave did something on Saturday, that not many major leaguers are able to do. He homered in his very first plate appearance in the major leagues.
Could there be a bigger thrill than that?
Absolutely not.
20 homers last year in the minor leagues. He does have power. Skies this one in the air to center field. Martinez on the move, still going back, still going back. It carries all the way to the warning track.
He does have power.
One away. By the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll be selecting the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's. Here's Adrianza. A-Rays had a good series, couple of RBIs, 3 out of 5. On the outer edge, 1-1. Twins are playing Adrianza at short. Of course, their shortstop Jorge Polanco was hit with an 80-game suspension, and he tested positive for PEDs. He is eligible to come back in July, so it'll be a while before they see Polanco. There's a strike call.
And Michael really using that four-seam fastball to his advantage. Not afraid to go inside with the fastball. That last one was 95 on the black outside to Grayson Greiner. If my memory serves me correctly, this is the first time that Greiner has caught Michael Fulmer.
Yes, I think you're right.
He may have caught him in spring training, but he's never caught him in a big league game. Regular season game, I should say.
Fly ball right field. Castellanos circling under it. 2 gone.
And it's always interesting to see how the two catchers work with one pitcher. Looks like to me Fulmer is mixing in a few more off-speed pitches early in this game versus what he did in the start against Seattle. Not that the start in Seattle was a bad start. He really threw a lot of fastballs in that particular game. His usage was way up around 55, 60, which is high these days for a starting pitcher, believe it or not.
Wilson looks at a strike.
Nice little slider right there. First pitch slider.
Here's a question for you. With a young guy like Greiner, do you think Fulmer, as opposed to McCann, would shake Greiner off a little bit more than McCann?
Yeah, I think he might take control of his game a little bit more with Greiner back there versus McCann. He's already made mention of the fact that how much he trusts James McCann behind the plate, his ability to call a game. Not that he doesn't respect Greiner. I'm sure they prepared well before this game. A lot of times when a guy like Greiner knows that the next day he's going to catch Michael Fulmer, you'll see those guys standing by one another the night before in the dugout, you know, just kind of casually having a conversation and kind of talking about a certain situation, what you throw in this particular situation, so you have a good feel going into the game the next day.
Didn't go. 2-2 on Wilson, the well-traveled Bobby Wilson, including a stop in Detroit with the Tigers A couple of years back in 2016. Mentioned the Castro injury has really left the Twins short-handed behind the plate.
And Michael has thrown a total of 34 pitches, and half of those have been 95 miles an hour and above. There's another one.
3-2.
I guess this is a good reason for throwing that four-seam fastball, right, buddy?
Here you go, 171.
Look at that list: Sale, Ray, Verlander. How's Rich Hill on that list?
Yeah, which one doesn't belong? Rich Hill. Well, a 2-out walk. Tigers face the White Sox this Saturday, May 26th at 4:10. The first 10,000 fans get a free Al Kaline 1968 50th anniversary bobblehead. If you'd like tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or tigers.com. Here's Byron Buxton. Buxton is 1 for 5 with an RBI in the series. Rolled foul. Buxton, the year he was drafted, was considered the top high school prospect in the country. He went second overall that year to the Twins, behind Carlos Correa to the Astros. Missed inside, 1-2. Buxton, as a matter of fact, in his high school days, struck out 18 batters in the Georgia High School State Championship game. Now the 1-2. So high school wise, he was one of those kids that was a terror.
Oh, no question. He was a quarterback, I think, his first couple of years in high school. And then once he found out and figured out he's going to be a #1 draft choice, I think they moved him to a safer spot, which was a receiver. But his first couple of years, I heard he was an unbelievable quarterback.
One round, strike 3 called. Fulmer strikes him out. 2-out walk is stranded. We'll go to the third. Peterson, shortstop for West Michigan and the Whitecaps. Watch this play. Little shallow pop to left field, and wow. Peterson, a diving play. Laid out to make that catch, and that's as good as it gets.
That's a big league play. Flying through the air like Superman.
Peterson was a 13th round pick out of St. Bonaventure and now in the Tigers system. Here is Machado to get things rolling in the third. It'll be Dixon, then Martin, and then Castellanos. Gibson throwing inside, 1-1.
And the analytics department in the offseason sent Kyle Gibson some information, and the information told Kyle Gibson that he might want to start throwing his four-seam fastball a little bit more this year. Kyle Gibson, Mario, has always been the guy with the good two-seamer, the good changeup, the good breaking ball at the bottom of the strike zone. He's always gotten tons of ground balls every single year. He leads the league in ground balls off the bats of the opposition. But the new analytics team have gotten him throwing the fastball up in the strike zone. He's getting more swings and misses with that four-seam fastball. A lot of pitchers in baseball using that fastball to their advantage. And it's also made his breaking pitches a whole lot better because he's changing eye levels north and south these days. He's pitching better.
Well, he's got a 3.96 ERA coming in. Fouled off by Machado.
Just another example of the analytics department helping out a player. Realize what his best pitch is and a pitch that he should throw more often. I think the Houston Astros probably do the best job of recognizing what a guy's strength is and making sure that guy sticks to that strength the majority of the time during the course of the game.
He did not go. Here's what I wonder about that. If you come to Kyle Gibson and say, look, you need to start doing a little bit more of this according to the numbers, you got to have a player buy into that.
Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, if you have the numbers and you have all the data that shows him that, but that's the key. They have the data to show him that you get a lot of swings and misses when you throw the ball upstairs. Whether you believe it or not, I mean, you're a better pitcher if you use this fastball along with your two-seamer.
Well, the results have been better this year for Gibson. 3-2 on Machado. Dixon is now 0 for his last 11. Fly ball, center field, right center. It's going to be Buxton right in front of Kepler for the out. Chevrolet's most dependable player is Matt Manning of the Whitecaps, who is the recipient of that great defensive play we just showed you by Cole Peterson in 17 innings in his last 3 starts, Rod. How about these numbers?
Well, scouts will tell you, Mario, that Matt Manning, he's what they look like. He's about 6'5". He throws straight downhill, 92 to 95. He's got a big league curveball right now. I mean, big league curveball. Changeup, still a developing pitch like most young guys, but he's going to pitch in the big leagues for sure.
You know, when you have talents like that, like Faedo, like Perez, who is still on the disabled list, I believe, Franklin Perez, still on the comeback. Funkhauser, a lot of the young pitchers, Burrows. It's always interesting to me as Martin nubs this one, and Wilson will throw it up. Always interesting to me to kind of figure out when organizations think those guys are ready for the next step. That's kind of a tricky situation.
They'll tell you, for the most part. At some point in time, those guys are all going to end up in Double-A, and most of them will end up in Double-A together. And then some of them are going to start to separate themselves. Some of those guys will need to go to Triple-A, and there might be 1 or 2 of those guys that bypass Triple-A because they're all very talented. Depends on who your pitching coach is, depends on the trust that they have. Well, didn't Joe Zamaya and Verlander basically come out of A-ball or Double-A back in the day? Both guys?
Yeah. Yeah, as Jim Leland said, give me talent.
Yeah, talent will tell you when they're ready to pitch in the big leagues.
Nick had a double in the first inning.
I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest challenges is when you have a team that's rebuilding and you have younger players in the minor leagues, players that might be, capable of playing in the big leagues. Sometimes you might not want them in a losing atmosphere. You might want them to get better down in the minor leagues with the teammates where it's a winning culture, because that plays huge in younger players when they come to the big leagues, depending on what's going on with the major league team.
Well, you played on a squad in '84 in Detroit, and for the most part, the core of that team played together in the minor leagues.
They sure did.
They came up together, and once they got to the major leagues, they put it all together.
I mean, Trammell, Morris, Petrie, Whitaker, Rosamond. I mean, all those guys were homegrown. Parrish. And then when Sparky came in 1979, Sparky told everybody that would listen, we'll be champions in 5 years.
He paid off on that. 2-1 is rolled towards shortstop Adrianza. Throw him out. 1-2-3 inning for Gibson. In case you missed it, Brian Dozier in his first at bat did this. Doink. Bottom of the third. Fulmer facing the top of the lineup. Dozier, then Kepler, and then Rosario. First one is blown away to Dozier, who doubled in the first and scored their run. And he nearly hit it out. We showed you going to the last break that he hit one to the top of the wall. It's stuck in the wall. And Dozier now has 4 doubles in this series. I heard an interview with Dozier after the game last night here on local radio, asking him, you know, how did it feel to hit those doubles the opposite way, and is that a good thing for you? And Brian said, why is everybody always just concentrating on me hitting the ball the other way? Everyone is so fascinated with me hitting the ball the other way.
Yeah.
He is known as a dead pull hitter, and they've been trying to get him to do that.
Well, he's done this against the Tigers in the last couple of years. He has started to go the other way a little bit more frequently. 8 to center. He's also gone to right 7 times. Right field used to be foreign to Brian Dozier. That's what he likes to do right there.
Knocked down, and Dozier is out.
And time for the DT Energy Know Your Own Power. Happened back in the first inning. A 95-mile-per-hour fastball right around the belt buckle, and he turned on it. He juiced that ball to straightaway center field for his 4th double in the last couple of days.
One away now for Max Kepler. I was reading a really interesting article on Kepler launch angle, and they've asked him, you know, have you bought into the whole launch angle thing? And he said, absolutely not. He said, I'm not into that. I'm not trying to hit home runs. I'm not trying to elevate the ball. I've been taught to keep my swing on a certain plane, and I'm not going to change that plane.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
I think there are a few of those guys out there, I really do, that aren't buying into elevating balls. And Kepler made a good point. He said, if you hit a ball good on the screws, you're going to hit it out anyway. And, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. He has hit 6 homers this year.
He nearly hit another one a couple of days ago. Ball off the top of the wall. He got a double, drove in a run. He thought he had a homer.
He was feeling that one.
It's a slider. Looked like he got him right off the back knee.
Finally getting a trainer to come out to look at Kepler. Along with ball monitor, he is also out there.
Not a whole lot of meat there on that shin. Does not feel good. Done that many, many times.
Kind of surprised a lot more guys don't wear those shin guards. That certainly would have come in handy there for Kepler.
He's in a tremendous amount of pain, obviously.
He took a while getting to his feet. One and two. Here's where it's got to be really tough to concentrate on the rest of this event.
Especially if he throws you another slider down and in. Uh-oh, here they go. He has thrown a bunch inside today. Michael Fulmer has thrown more inside in today's game than most pitchers throw inside. And you don't really have to have a 95-mile-per-hour fastball to do so. You just don't. There's a fastball right there that he wanted inside, and that one had some two-seam tailing action to it. And it tailed back over the heart of the plate. That's a dangerous place for Kepler.
Rosario will be next. High towering fly ball fouled on the right field line.
Michael already up to 52 pitches. The main goal of the Minnesota Twins is to get Michael Fulmer out of the game and to get into the Tigers bullpen. You know, the Tigers bullpen has been used a lot lately. They're fouling off a lot of pitches. They're grinding it against Michael, just like most teams do. Nothing different than the way teams used to approach Justin Verlander. You feel like your chances increase in winning if you get him out of the game.
Kepler struck out in his only at bat. Kepler's a good hitter, but he is only 4 for his last 42 against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, I saw that last night. Killing lefties.
Yeah, just hard to figure out. And he'll get himself a walk, a painful one, but it's a walk.
I want to go back to Rosario's first at bat. I want to talk about making adjustments, and this is why this guy's a pretty good player. That's a previous pitch, 95. He swung right through it, a big, wild swing. Then Michael comes back basically with the same exact pitch, a much more under control swing for Rosario, and he's able to get himself a big base hit and drive in a run. So sometimes you just have to shorten up and do something differently, especially when a guy's throwing that fastball by you, and Michael was throwing the fastball by Rosario his first time up until that swing.
Fulmer now has walked one in each of the last 2 innings.
Michael's walks per 9 innings are up a little bit this year. They're up to 3 per 9 this year, which is the most in his major league career.
Three times he has had 3 walks in his start.
Good pitch. Nice changeup.
One and one on Rosario. In the air, shallow left field. Jones on the sprint. Goodrum going back. Jones bails him out. Time for a game break now. Here's John Keating. Yeah, it would be nice. Tigers due for one. They've lost 5 straight. That Royals team came in at 15-33 in the American League Central Division. I'm really stunned at how Chicago is playing. 14 wins this year. That's it.
Yeah, I thought they were a much better team going into spring training, and I thought they were much better than what they performed.
Here is Escobar. Ball 1.
It just really goes to show you, Mario, and it's not to say that all the prospects that they got back in the Sale deal and the Eaton deal are not going to turn out to be really good big league players. But really, they are just prospects until they get to the big leagues and really establish themselves as front line players. I mean, it's just the way that it is.
Well, a lot of them were pitchers, and they're still waiting on guys like Michael Kopech. Giolito's been in the big leagues, but it's just been okay. And so until you get them performing at this level, you don't know. 60 now for Michael. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, Michael has a really good changeup today. Fastball's been firm. He's thrown the fastball about 62% of the time. And he's also thrown the changeup quite a bit more today than in recent starts. And I think the reason for that is there's about 5 left-handers in the lineup today for Minnesota. So usually the changeup is the one good pitch for the lefties fading away from them. Here's our Xfinity high-speed pitch on Michael Fulmer this afternoon. 97 has been his top fastball. 82, that has been the speed of either his slider or his changeup. Chris Bosio, first-year pitching coach for the Tigers, watching Michael.
So the Twins continue to do a good job of fouling pitches off, extending at bats. Michael up to 63 pitches now.
He has thrown Escobar a changeup in the back-to-back breaking balls. We'll see if he likes to elevate one here at about 96 to get a swing and miss.
Elevated, but did not offer. Uh-oh, Fulmer didn't look good on that last pitch.
Yeah, did he hurt his knee or something? Oh, landed awkwardly. Maybe that landing spot. He's okay. Uh-oh, they're going to take a look at it.
Yeah, Greiner's going out there to make sure things are okay. He's got the home plate umpire with him, so this will not be a mound visit. Here's the 2-2. Slap foul out of play. So Fulmer now is averaging more than 20 pitches per inning, and that's on the high side. The Twins trying to get to that Tiger bullpen at some point today. Lifted to shallow center field for Martin, and that'll take care of the Twins. No runs, a walk, 1 left. Tigers baseball today presented by Bell Tire.
Hats off for heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Back here at Target Field on our way to the 4th inning today. The Tigers wrapping up this series against the Twins. And Vimard leads it off in the Tiger 4th. Martinez, Goodrum, and Hicks against Kyle Gibson. First one is low, ball 1 on Victor, whose sac fly knocked in a run in the first.
Great crowd here this afternoon on a Wednesday. 12 o'clock start.
Great weather, temperature in the 70s here this afternoon in Minnie. Drill toward left center field. That ball is going to get down. Over to cut it off is Buxton, and Vimard will hold with a single. Let's bring in Mickey York.
Well, Mario, we've talked about what a great ballpark this is. What a great city, too. And I have always wanted to go to First Avenue when I've been here in Minneapolis. Of course, that was the place where a large majority of the movie Purple Rain was shot. It's where Prince and Morris Day and the Time and so many other Minneapolis acts got their start. I went over there, though, and it was closed. But I poked around long enough, and I ran into a guy named Brian, who was the event coordinator over there. And I told him my story, and he said, come on. So he opened up the door and gave me the grand tour. Took me backstage, let me get on the stage where Prince actually played, showed me all the places where the movie was shot. As a huge Prince fan, and I had giant goosebumps the entire time I was there. It was such a cool and awesome experience. You know that expression, Minnesota nice? That was Minnesota super nice. And Rod, I understand you used to go clubbing there at First Avenue back in the day. Is that right?
I've been in there a few times, Mick. I've been in there a few times.
Leisure suit, platform shoes?
Well, maybe not the platform shoes, but I might have had a patent leather suit on or something.
Oh, yeah. It's very cool over there. If you ever get a chance while you're here in Minneapolis to check out First Avenue, a lot of history in that building.
All right, Mick, thanks. Did you say a patent leather suit?
A leather suit. You ever had any leather pants?
No, I can safely say never has that been part of my wardrobe. But what a great experience that had to be for Mickey.
No doubt. He was telling me about that, man. He said that he saw everything over there.
Prince, what an artist.
He sure was. He's loved here, obviously, in this area.
Nico Goodrum struck out in the first inning. Leadoff single here by Victor. Now they go 2. Tigers grabbed an early 1-0 lead. The Twins have since tied it. Two and 2 now the count on Goodrum, who is batting cleanup here today for the 3rd time he has started in the cleanup spot.
And Tigers a little thin with their roster right now. No disrespect to Nico, but man, do they need Miggy back. They need Candelario back. Candelario's set to play tonight.
Belted to right field. Nico turned on this one, and that ball is going to go. It is out of here. A 2-run shot for Nico Goodrum. And that's why he's batting cleanup. His 5th of the year.
And Nico has shown us quite a bit of power. He had about 5 or 6 home runs in spring training, and that really helped him make the team this year. Kyle Gibson continued to throw him fastball after fastball. Finally, one at 93. He got way too much play, and Nico Goodrum put a real good swing on it. That ball got out of here in a hurry. I mean, a hurry.
Got to feel great for Nico. Not only to hit a home run, but against the team that he grew up with. Broke in with the Twins and spent his entire career with the Minnesota system. 3-1. Tigers have the lead. Here's John Hicks. Hasn't missed low and away. That was the 5th home run of the year allowed by the right-hander Gibson. And Hicks hits the deck. 1-2.
And Kyle Gibson, his pitch count is in pretty good shape. His next pitch will be his 48th of the afternoon.
Hicks hit a ball up the middle. His first at bat. Dozier robbed him with a backhanded play. 2-2. Single by Vmart. 2-run shot by Goodrum. Full count now on Hicks. Jones will be next, and the next offering from Gibson will be number 50. Swing and a miss, and Hicks is out of there. One gone. Well, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app, take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you. Wherever you go, it's made available by T-Mobile. Gibson had retired 9 straight coming into the 4th inning. Then Vmart singled and Nico homered. Jacoby struck out in the 2nd. Still trying to find that level of consistency here in the major leagues, Jones. He's got a wealth of talent, wealth of skills. The 1-0 is grounded foul.
I really admired the fact that Jacoby, even though he has struggled a little bit from time to time swinging the bat, and most guys young will struggle from time to time at this level, but he never takes a play off defensively. He never takes his bats out to the outfield. He's made great plays out there, and a lot of times young players, when they struggle a little bit with the bat, they tend to take those out to the defensive end, and they don't necessarily play the way they're capable of playing. Kyle Gibson's tied him up with that breaking ball down so far today. He struck him out with that breaking ball his first time up.
Went back out there, but Jones did not offer.
Now, the worst thing you could do here as Jacoby is to start to look for that breaking ball, and then have Kyle Gibson throw you a fastball, and then you take that fastball for strike 3. You have to make sure you still sit on your fastball. Oh, he got lucky.
Man, he just missed.
He sure did, because that would have happened exactly what I just explained. And you could tell by Jacoby's actions that had that ball been over the plate, he wouldn't have been able to swing at it. So one thing you can't do, you always have to stay with your fastball regardless of how many breaking balls that pitcher throws you.
Little chopper slowly up the middle. Adrianza with a bare hand play. Got him at first.
What a play.
Well, you don't normally see a shortstop come in that far with the or that far away from the bag and make that bare hand play.
Well, he made the play the only way that he could make the play. He comes in do or die fashion, and he bare hands that ball in the palm of his hand. He transfers it to the fingertips, and then he flips it across the diamond with some accuracy and some velocity. That's a fine play by their shortstop.
Quinn Walcott was right there to make the call, and Jacoby is out by half a step. Now Griner. .53 ground out his first at bat. Strike call now. 0-2 on Griner. Grayson has only had a couple of at-bats on this road trip as you look at the totals for Gibson. He's approaching 60 in the game. Griner played his college ball at South Carolina, was a semi-finalist his senior year for the Johnny Bench Award, which is given out annually to the top catcher in college baseball. Chopped the third foul.
He's one of the tallest catchers in the big leagues. As a matter of fact, he's the tallest catcher in the majors at 6 feet 6 inches. And for a guy that's as big as he is, he has some nice mobility. behind the plate.
Well, he's from Columbia, South Carolina. That's where he played his college ball.
Got a little baby boy named Hudson, born in February. Tied for the tallest catcher in Major League history.
You know, you talk about guys that are tall behind the plate and how it can be a challenge for them to frame pitches and keep the strike zone within view. I wonder how difficult it is for umpires, too, that have to deal with tall catchers.
Yeah, they do block the umpires a lot of times if they come up prematurely.
And that'll miss low, 3-2.
That's why the catching instructors, they really want you to focus on staying as low as possible, especially when you have a tall frame. James McCann is a big catcher, too. Not as tall, obviously, as Griner, but he's a big catcher, big body catcher.
Drilled to center field, base hit. Griner has a 2-out single. That'll bring up Iglesias now with a 2-out hit. Iggy bounced out his first time up. Escobar made a nice play on him. Strike one.
Did you realize the Twins have beaten the Tigers 9 of the last 10 meetings? Did you realize that?
No, because when we came in here, we talked about how lopsided the season series was in this ballpark.
Yeah, but overall, Tigers won for their last 10 against Minnesota. So today's win would be much needed.
Well, the Tigers have 12 coming up at home, so they definitely will need to play their better baseball like they do at home.
Get a win today, get home reasonable hour tonight, nice dinner, day off tomorrow, recharge the battery, and get right back at it on Friday night. Tigers have had to play a lot of baseball in their days off for the most part this year.
Well, that's not going to change because they've got a day off scheduled for June the 4th, but that's a makeup doubleheader against the Yankees, which has turned a 10-game homestand into a 12-game homestand. But really not a lot of rest until or after the off day tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have the kind of weather the Tigers had in the month of April and all the postponements.
Chopped to third base, foul. Tigers above 500 at home. They're 12-10. It's been their play on the road that has been an issue. Today they're trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. And another foul. They are really making Gibson work now. He's had a couple of quick innings, but 31 here in the 4th.
Yeah, he had 40-something pitches. And I made the comment that his pitch count was in a really good shape.
Again, rolled foul.
Yeah, these Tigers are working as hard against Gibson as the Minnesota Twins are working against Michael Fulmer. And both teams fouling off a lot of pitches.
.32 this inning alone. And another ground ball foul. Taking shots at Dave Clark down there in the coaching box.
All the foul balls today. Detroit has fouled off 17 off Gibson. Minnesota's fouled off 14 off of Fulmer.
And Iglesias just continues.
Iglesias is one of the toughest guys to strike out in the league. I mean, every year he's in the top 10. He's in the top 10 right now.
He is driving Gibson nuts, who came into this inning with just 36 pitches. Now he's over 70. Fly ball toward left center. Buxton will run it down. That'll end the inning. Well, if you're batting cleanup, you got to clean up, and that's what Nico has done. A 2-run shot here in the fourth. And his 2-run homer.
Did you take Nico and Ram pick the stick this afternoon?
He was my selection.
All right, now. Congratulations.
Thank you. I needed that because I have not been performing well recently. Ball missing high as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Logan Morrison leads it off.
The Ram pick the stick competition is going to go right down to the wire this year.
Well, last year I had a sizable lead which disappeared. Look out, that thing is pulled foul.
I understand how that can happen.
And man, you were cruising for a while this year.
Sure was.
And it turns on a dime, doesn't it?
It turns on a dime. It can turn very quickly. You can be in last one day, you can end up in fourth the next day. That's how close it is for the most part. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth spots.
This one heading back to the seats. Goodrum had to sidestep the umpire, but it's out of play.
And Michael, it continues to feature that high octane fastball at 95 and above. He's thrown 69 pitches.
Two and two now on Morrison. Logan Morrison has played with the Marlins, the Rays, the Mariners, and now the Twins.
Yeah, he and Miggy were teammates in the early days, Florida Marlin days.
Ball high. 3-2.
And Michael has enough confidence in his off-speed stuff. If he wanted to, he can come back with either a changeup or a slider here and to get a swing and miss of Logan Morrison. I don't think Logan will be able to hold up.
Fouled away. Well, we talked about it. Here's the Ram pick the stick update. See what's going on. We got a nice little 6 going.
Yeah. Everybody on the board for the most part. Just a couple of minuses, but that can change. Nicholas has gotten me 2. I picked first today. Nicholas has gone first, I think, every game on this road trip that he's played.
Yep, I think he has. Good reason. Broken bat roller to first base. Hicks will toss to the pitcher covering. 1 gone.
Here's our bell tire pitch by pitch, and we just saw a fastball inside right there to break Morrison's bat, but I really love how Michael's making these hitters uncomfortable today with these fastballs anywhere from 93 to 95 inside. See, guys react this way because they're not used to getting fastballs inside. You can see to a man every single guy jumping out of the way of those inside fastballs because most guys don't pitch in there. 29% with his slider. Changeup he's used 11%, and we've talked about the fastball all day. There's another one. When's the last time you can remember somebody pitching this aggressively inside? Even Michael, for that matter.
We talked about this before the game, at least not for the Tigers. Fulmer has done it occasionally, but yeah, even for Michael, he's gone back in there a lot.
That's pitching. 94 with the first pitch. Inside, then he backdoored him with a real nice breaking ball. But of course, Michael's issues have not been getting through the first 5-6 frames this year. It's going beyond that, and we were told today that they would try to push Michael past 100 pitches this afternoon, and it's starting to look like he's going to have a lead while doing so if he continues to perform the way he's performing.
Big swing there for strike 3. Cave is gone.
That was 97 right by Cave. Perfectly done. Right at the Griner glove.
A-Ray Adrianza stands in, and there's strike 1.
Yeah, Michael's pitching today. Using all of his pitches. He's gotten ahead several times with the slider. He's in such a good rhythm out there that Adrianza called timeout to slow him down.
Adrianza is 0 for 1. Fly ball to right field is only time up. He'll roll that to second where Machado is. And that is going to be a 1-2-3 4th inning. Rod Gardenhire was mic'd up yesterday. We'll hear more from Gardy when we come back.
I knew they would.
They play hard, man.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun in the dugout. A lot of hooting and hollering going on, a lot of crazy stuff. Leonis Martin is nuts. He's got this high-pitched voice, and he keeps us all entertained. But these guys really play, man. We've been in every game. I mean, we're in every freaking game, so it's fun.
Gardy mic'd up yesterday there. 1-800-CALL-SAM call to the game, and Gardy was gracious enough to wear a microphone during batting practice and give us a lot of good stuff.
Having a conversation with former Tiger Dan Gladden, also radio announcer here in Minnesota. And what was amazing to me, all the people that ran up to Gardenhire. As we get a look at Dan Gladden, they're standing up. All the people that came to Gardy here over the last couple of days. I mean, just from everywhere. I mean, just to get a chance to say hi to him. He meant a lot to a lot of people here.
Not only that, but when the Tigers signed Gardy to a contract in the offseason, I got a lot of texts from those that covered him here in Minnesota saying, wow, good for you. You're going to love him.
Well, we experienced that when we would come here as visitors.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, we didn't obviously get a chance to spend as much time with him, but as far as opposing managers, I can't think of any other manager that was as gracious as Gardenhire was when we would come to Minnesota.
Well, Gardy says we've been playing in pretty much betting in every game, and he's right. I mean, we've had 29 games
it's a lot.
Decided by 2 or fewer runs.
Yep, it's a lot of them.
And Machado looks to the ball. Now the count goes full at 3-2. Dixon had a good at bat in the third. He ended up flying out, but he forced the pitch count up a little bit. Gibson had 36 pitches in the fourth. Chopped to third base, Escobar. One away here in the fifth. Leonis Martin now here in the fifth inning with 1 out.
And Leonis led off the first inning with a single and came around to score after Castellanos doubled in the left field corner. Victor Martinez with a sac fly. This offense was running so efficiently, and before he went on the disabled list with that hamstring strain. He's come back. He's been a little slow, but you can see what he does for this offense when he's able to get on base.
Yeah, the 0 for 20 until that single. And there's some hope that'll get him going now. He is 1 for 2 in this game. 2-0.
And this much we do know, that Martin has himself in a real friendly fastball count. And should Gibson throw him one, we do know that Leonis will not get cheated.
Castellanos on deck. It's rarely in that on deck circle. He likes to lean on the railing down there.
Nick just be chilling.
It's just a little casual view.
He's just chilling. He knows he can hit.
Popped him up. He was going to take it. The catcher Wilson. It falls into his glove. 2 gone. This Sunday, May 27th, Tigers take on the White Sox at 1:10. Sunday Kids Day. The first 10,000 fans receive a free Nicholas Castellanos bobblehead. Tickets can be had by calling 866-66-TIGER or go to tigers.com.
Check out the bobblehead. It's got the top button is loosened and he's got his chain dangling just like right now. And he's got the bubble gum. All he's got to do is blow a bubble and it'll be spot on.
It's technically a bubblehead then. There's a high fly ball center field, hit pretty deep, but Buxton has room. And Gibson has a 1-2-3 fifth. And they've done so on the home run by Nico Goodrum, breaking a 1-1 tie. And Rodman, look at this ball game now. Fulmer about to go his third time through the lineup. This is where it's been a kind of a fuzzy area for him.
And we're going to watch him very close. I've been told today that they're going to push Michael Fulmer past 100 pitches no matter what. They want to see him get past this threshold that's been so difficult for him. They've got a 3-1 lead. The bullpen is taxed. They need Michael to stay out there for a while.
Well, he's going to reach the 100 plateau soon. I mean, he's in the 80s right now, but when you look at the Tigers getting him some runs, early runs certainly helped for him. And Nico Goodrum, big home run in this game.
Yeah, huge blow for him. Now it's up to Michael to go out there and make sure he preserves the lead. He is the ace of the staff, and they desperately need him to continue to pitch like that in this game against Minnesota, who's pretty much handled the Tigers the last 9 of 10 meetings. So this is a big start for Michael.
Bobby Wilson, Byron Buxton, and Brian Dozier here in the bottom of the 5th. Twins have not had a whole lot going on since the RBI hit by Rosario. That was in the first inning, and a swat there at a ball out of the strike zone by Wilson.
That ball was over Wilson's head. Michael not all that efficient in the first pitch strikes category, but it really hasn't hurt him that bad when you've got as much electric stuff as he has. And here's where the issues have been this season for Michael. Third time through the lineup for whatever reason. The command leaves him. He's not as sharp as he had been previously through the first time through, but let's change that today.
Wilson broke his bat. He walked against Fulmer in the second.
Little cutie got herself a baseball.
Pull on the ground to third base, Goodrum. And Wilson is out. Let's bring in Mickey York.
Hey guys, I had to take a little break. I had a big meal before the game today, and it all got started with a beer. Naturally, you can have beer for breakfast. I went over to Taps 34 here at Target Field. I was looking for the Cut Down Brown IPA. That was the beer brewed by Glenn Perkins, the Twins' former All-Star closer. They were out. But man, Sean hooked me up with a delicious IPA, and on I went. Of course, you can't just have beer for breakfast, so I decided to head over to Kramarczyk's. Kramarczyk's has been a Minneapolis staple since 1954, known for their Polish food and also their outstanding cheese brats, barb piled on the onions and the sauerkraut. And yes, for those of you on either side of the argument, I went with the mustard. But I don't know, what's that stuff they have in the turkey, the tryptophan or whatever that is? Yeah, they might have some of that in the sausages.
A little sleepy.
Yeah, maybe it was the 3 IPAs. I don't know. Either way, I just gonna take a load off here for a few minutes.
By the way, Mick, I saw your pregame hit, and I noticed that when you got your brat, you didn't pay for it. Who took care of that?
I said it was on Mario and Pemba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Buxton heading to second. He's safe. Very aggressively, Byron Buxton.
He is the only player in baseball that can get a double on a play like that. It is ridiculous how fast this dude is. We've talked about Byron Buxton the last couple of days and how fast he is. Look at him. This ball is a single up the middle, and he never stops. Leonis has got a strong arm in center field. Jacoby's got a strong arm as well in left field. But look at this guy.
Who else gets a double?
Nobody, Mario. It's hard to believe.
So Buxton is in scoring position now for Dozier, his 4th double this year. Only the 3rd Twins hit.
We're trying to get an official time for you on just how fast and Byron Buxton went from home plate to second base. He is the fastest player in baseball. I mean, there's data that proves that. There's no one faster than Byron Buxton.
Dozier a double and a ground out, very nearly hit a home run in the first inning on a ball that stuck in the wall in dead center.
7.9 seconds it took him to get from home plate to second base. Basically 7 seconds. You can see that every single year in feet per second, Buxton at the top of the list.
High fly ball, center field. Martin backing up on it. Buxton tagging up. And he'll head to third base and get there safely. 2 outs. Fox Sports Detroit University days are back. It's time to head to Comerica Park and show your school spirit. Special packages include a game ticket, Tigers cap, and your school colors. Any donation back to your university. If you'd like to purchase a package or if you'd like more information, go to tigers.com. Two away now with Buxton at third. Tigers lead 3-1. Kepler coming up. Strikeout and a walk for Kepler.
And Michael has had no problem in throwing that changeup or that breaking ball over the plate for a little get me over strike. And very seldom have the Minnesota Twins, swung at the first pitch when it's been an off-speed pitch. They've swung a lot at the fastballs, though.
Michael now at 95 pitches. He had 25 in the third, his high watermark in this game.
He has only gone over 100 pitches once this season.
In on his hands there, and it's popped up foul. Kreiner runs out of room. One and two on Kepler.
I know that Ron Gardenhire was kind of hoping for the kind of day today out of Michael where he could and get 7 frames in, turn it over to Joe, and then turn it over to Greeny.
Swing and a miss. Kepler is out on strikes. That'll end the inning. No runs, a double by Buxton is stranded.
board first today on a sac fly off the bat of Victor Martinez. Castellanos doubled. Martin had singled to lead off the game. He came home to score. And then you have the Minnesota Twins. Eddie Rosario, man, what a good player he's been. Drives in a run in the first inning, tied at 1. Nico Goodrum with a huge swing. Nico's first time up today, runner on third, less than 2 outs, struck out. He made up for that with a 2-run shot in the 4th inning, and that's where we sit right now. 3-1, Tigers in the lead.
Victor leads it off, and he will take strike 1 from Gibson.
And Victor's had a good day. He is a single, a sac fly, scored a run.
Here's the 0-1.
And shift on Victor. Adrianza now moving over in the right side of the infield, along with Dozier and Morrison.
Martinez, a couple of hits in this series. He homered against James Paxton back in Seattle in that series on Saturday. Here's the 1-2. Bouncing in. Goodrum and then Hicks. Bouncing ball left side and through, a base hit. Vmar 2 for 2 today. Hey, the Liney Summer Party Pack includes a game ticket and a voucher for a draft beer as little as $19 per person. Available for every Friday and Saturday night home game. For tickets, go to tigers.com/Liney. Here is Goodrum. Tigers have their 6th hit of this game. Ball 1 to Nico, who hit a 2-run homer into the seats in right field in his last at bat.
And Nico has got a lot of power. Surprising power. 5 homers in spring training. Really has a lot of power from the left side. He wouldn't homer again, would he?
Didn't he take Paxton deep back home?
He sure did.
Yeah, from the right side too. And now time is called.
Garvin Alston. He's going to jump out of that dugout. Going to have a conversation with Kyle Gibson, first-year pitching coach here in Minnesota. Garvin. And what did StatCast have to say about the Goodrum home run back in the 4th inning? It was a fastball that was pretty much right down the middle, about 93. It got off his bat at about 104 miles an hour with a 24-degree launch angle. And just enough distance to get it over the gate in right field. He might just do it again.
Here's the 2-0. It is low, ball 3.
I'd green light him right here. I'd let him go. Let him swing it. Just in case Gibson decides to throw one right down the middle.
Low ball 4. That'll be a walk for Goodrum. The Tigers have 2 on here in the 6th. Nobody out. And Gibson now at 93 pitches. He's going to bring up Hicks.
And we told you that for the most part this year, Gibson has relied on a 4-seam fastball anywhere from 93 to 95 upstairs. But in this situation, And with nobody out, he will simply go right back downstairs with his two-seam fastball and a mixture of changeups and breaking balls, trying to get the ground ball off the bat of John Hicks.
And there's your ground ball to the shortstop. Adrianza to Dozier, and a double play. 6-4-3, 2 gone now with Martinez at third.
Well, it's nice to have that weapon, though, Mario, I guess. I mean, if you're a guy that's been pitching upstairs for the most part all year, then you get yourself backed into a wall. You have that one pitch that you know you can get a ground ball with, and just give Gibson some credit. Really, you have to.
Pulled it out at the right time. That'll leave Martinez at third now. Here's Jones. This is where the Tigers just have not been able to get over the hump, Rod. They will get a couple of runs early, and they raced out to a 3-1 lead in this one, but potentially a big inning here short-circuited.
Yeah. And the bullpen really has no margin for error when they come into games. And Ron Gardenhire said as much yesterday that they just need to string together some big innings. And when the bullpen does come in, let it have a little margin for error. And for that matter, Michael Fulmer too, because it looks like Michael's going to pitch one more inning. And then they're going to have to piece it together and through the bullpen. We might see Jimenez go 2 innings today.
Ground ball to first, and that's gobbled up there by Morrison, who will tag the back for the out. Inning is over. Tigers get a single, a walk, but do not score. Important inning coming up for Michael Fulmer. He's at 97 pitches.
I want to show you some numbers on Michael Fulmer. We've talked about the fact that through the first 5 or 6 innings, he's really, really good. His last 3 starts, you can see the numbers on the right prior. 18 strikeouts, just 3 walks, not many base runners at all. But for whatever reason, when Michael goes back out there for the 6th, in the last 1 1/3 innings of those 3 starts combined, you take a look at his numbers. 10 runs, base runners, not many strikeouts, and walks. So this is a very important inning for Michael Fulmer to get through here today.
Well, Fulmer has Rosario, Escobar, and Morrison here. 3, 4, and 5 in the lineup for Minnesota. Swing and a miss.
That's a good pitch. He has used his changeup as a tremendous weapon to these left-handed batters today. And Paul Molitor has 5 left-handers in there going up against Michael Fulmer. A couple of switch hitters. Well, we told you at the top of the show that Michael would get to 100 pitches today. They were determined and to push him through that threshold, and there he sits at 101 as we speak.
Yank foul. Nice catch.
Rod, and this is where Michael Fulmer really wanted to get to in this game. He talked about making a little tweak when he gets to around 100 pitches, but couldn't replicate that obviously in between starts. So he wanted to get here today to see if this adjustment would pay off for him. We'll see how this sort of unfolds here in this inning, but this is sort of an interesting spot in this game for Michael Fulmer as he tries to finally clear that hurdle here in the late innings.
Well, maybe the adjustment that he's trying to make is go more soft here, because in this particular pitch sequence to Rosario, pretty much all soft stuff. Change up, change up, change up, change up, and then finally Rosario sits out there for one and hits it the opposite way on one that stays away from him. So maybe this is what Michael's going to try to do, throw more off-speed pitches, because all but one pitch there was a changeup to Rosario.
Strike one on Escobar.
That's just a pretty good piece of hitting by Rosario, man. You really have to give him a little bit of credit for that. I mean, that was a changeup that was down, and he just stayed with it and hit it the other way.
Ground ball to first. That is a fair ball. There's one. Now they got Rosario in a rundown. Rosario trying to stay alive, and he's finally tagged out. A double play for the Tigers.
What a huge break that is for the Tigers. Escobar hits it right at John Hicks. Hicks tags the bag, gets the ball on his way to Iglesias, and then they're able to make a couple more throws and get him out. Oh, what a huge play.
Bases are empty. It'll bring up Logan Morrison. Ball one to Morrison, who today is 0 for 2. .43.95 and above in this game for Fulmer. He has thrown as many as 109 pitches. He was in his start against Tampa. He's at 107 right now. So Fulmer now will equal his season high with his 109th pitch. Strike in the inside part of the plate. 3-1.
He's done that a lot. It's been a long time since we've seen a pitcher pitch this aggressively inside, and he needed to do as much to keep the Minnesota Twinkies off balance all day. Ron Gardenhire said his team would come out and play with much more energy today, and they have.
Swing and a miss. Up and out of the strike zone. 3-2 now on Morrison.
Michael Fulmer still throwing 97 miles an hour, 110 pitches in to this contest.
This obviously probably his last inning, so he's kind of letting her all hang out here.
He emptied the gas tank.
Sure seems like it.
He going 98.
It's a good chance. Fouled away.
Yeah, guys, Fulmer finishing, throwing hard is kind of what his manager wanted to see from him. Rod, I know you were talking about the tweak and maybe going a little soft in this situation. Gardenhire felt that was the problem in Seattle. He started spinning that slider up to the plate, and the Mariners were sitting on it and teed off on it. He said, look, the fastball was effective for him that day. He wants him to continue to go with what's working for him. We've seen Michael pounding inside the plate with the fastball this afternoon. As he walks a batter here, that's ideally what Gardenhire would like to get from him, but I don't think we're going to get a chance to see any more from Michael Fulmer, guys.
No, that's a great point, Mick. That's going to be the end of the day for Michael Fulmer, who pitched well here today. I like the way he mixed up all of his pitches. They've gotten everything they could have gotten out of him.
Season high 112 pitches. Michael disappointed. He wanted to finish things off here in the sixth, but he'll give way to the bullpen. Tigers will bring in a reliever, and we'll be back. The sixth, he will leave after the 2-out walk, but the 112 pitches is season high.
Well, and Chris Bosio told me today that no matter what, this was an area they were going to get to. They were going to push Michael through 100. They got him to 112 today. Michael was good, had a good fastball most of the afternoon. Still throwing 97 miles an hour. Lewis Coleman in to hold the lead. He's not been scored upon in our wall side windows pitching change since he's come to the big leagues.
Ball 1-2, Jake Cave. Strikeout, flyout. Cave was called up when Joe Mauer was recently placed on the DL. That was Saturday. High pop up. Left field line, Jones coming in, Jacoby's under it, and that is that. No runs, they get a single, a walk, and leave one. Tigers have a 3-1 lead. Michael Fulmer likes it. Inning over. telecast. Well, good job by Michael Fulmer. He is done, and the Tigers holding on to a 2-run lead here, 3-1. Wallside Windows pitching change. Trevor Hildenberger has come in now for the Twins.
The Minnesota Twins overall have a pretty good bullpen. At least they've been performing very well in the month of May. 17 walks, 6 strikeouts for Hildenberger. Starting to see more and more right-handers throw from the arm slot that Hildenberger is throwing from. If you don't throw 95 miles an hour, you need to find some kind of deception some way, and a lot of right-handers have taken the liberty of dropping down to a low 3/4 arm slot. And not only does he drop down to a low arm slot, Mario, look at where he starts on the rubber. He starts on the first base side of the rubber, and then he's going to step way over to the third base side of the rubber and then throw across his body.
Line to center field right at Buxton. There's a whole lot going on in that.
He sure does have a whole lot going on. Let's take a peek at that delivery. He's going to step over toward third base, and then he comes around his body trying to create some deception against the right-handed batters. Lefties shouldn't really have any problem with Hildenberger.
Here is Iglesias. Ground out, fly out for Iglesias. Roll toward the shortstop, Adrianza. 2 away. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Visit MLB.tv for more details. Dixon Machado is 0 for 2. Hildenberger played his college ball at Cal. He earned a film degree at Cal. How about that?
That's a nice school. Cal's a good academic school. So what's he going to do? He's going to go into the movies or something like that when he's done playing, or what?
Could be. He can make the story of his own life. One and 2 on Machado. Oh, Dixon had an emergency swing there.
Hasn't Doug Teeter, the head athletic trainer, hasn't his son been offered a full ride scholarship to go play football at Cal?
Yeah, Zach Teeter visited Cal, and Cal is high on his list. Zach's got a boatload of offers.
That's a long way from home, though. I wonder how mom will deal with that. From Florida to California.
Hey, man, school could be paid for. They'll deal with it.
Is that all that matters?
It's one less check you got to write.
I'm telling you, man. You wrote a lot of them checks, Bill, for the last 8 years.
Yeah, they pile up.
I wrote my fair share. My goodness.
Rounded foul.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Clarkie bobbled.
Oh, get him, Santiago.
Oh, Santiago's got to get him now. Santiago actually showing the kick motion down there at the first base. He kicked it.
This staff has a lot of fun. Look at him.
They've been going after each other all year.
Dave started it, though.
He did. He did. Swing and a miss. Machado out front. Hildenberger, a 1-2-3 seventh inning. Coming up, the Consumers Energy seventh inning stretch. Minneapolis 3-1 is our score. The Tigers holding on the lead here, trying to win one game in this series. The Tigers dropped the first two. Adrianza leads it off and looks at strike one. And when you look back at this one, some early runs for Mr. Fulmer, but one of the big things is he got past that 100 pitch count.
That was key for him, and it was something that he had to do, and I know he'll feel good about the outing today. I know he wanted to stay out there a little bit longer because he knows the bullpen's been taxed lately, but he did his job today. I mean, he didn't get 6 innings in, but he threw a bunch of pitches, and he left with a lead. The team's in good hands right now.
Well, the bullpen's going to have to get it done again. I mean, the Tigers have had a few chances to pile on or at least tack on some runs, but this bullpen again will be tested here today.
Well, Lewis Coleman's out there right now, and has the 7th inning. And obviously you have Jimenez, who's fresh. He hasn't pitched in the last couple of days. Shane Green hasn't pitched in the last a couple of days. So it's going to be up to Coleman to get the ball to those two guys in the 8th and the 9th.
1-2 the count on Adrianza.
And Coleman, a veteran pitcher, spent a number of years wearing a Kansas City Royals uniform.
Two and two.
I wouldn't be shocked if they got Jimenez up right now, just in case Coleman gets in trouble. You see Buck Farmer last couple of days, 40 pitches. Sopholt's pitched quite a bit. Even Coleman's thrown quite a bit. Daniel Stump, 29 pitches yesterday. So they just have to get the ball to the back end guys here today with a lead.
Bottom three here against Coleman. It's Adrianza, Wilson, and Buxton. Lewis came out to get the fly ball from Jake Cave in the 6th to end that threat. Count is full now, 3-2. This is where the Tigers have struggled in the month of May. The bullpen work. They're trying to nail this one shut. Overall this year, relievers ERA of 4.63. High fly ball right field. Castellanos backing up. One gone. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And by Chevrolet, it's the Chevy Memorial Day sales event. Start your summer off right in a new Chevrolet.
Sweet swinging Rodney Carew with his statue right out in front of the target field.
There's Bobby Wilson. They do a really good job here. They've got statues of Kirby Puckett. Tom Kelly was at it, I believe, last year. Rod Carew.
And Tom Kelly's statue looks just like him.
Got that stern look on his face.
As much as a statue could look like an individual.
2-0 on Wilson, who already has one walk in this game, and there's Joe Jimenez.
Yeah, they're not going to let this one get away from them. If they need Joe in the 7th inning, they'll go get him. Good fastball there by Coleman on the outside black. Bobby Wilson not agreeing with Chad Whitson, the home plate umpire.
Two and two.
Now here's the Tom Kelly statue, and it's that left shoulder. I mean, the way he used to stand with that fungo, I could see him doing that right now. That left shoulder was a little, a little larger than the right one. I don't know if it was the bat that was pushing it up or what, but that's just how he stood on this field on many days.
Knocked the shoulder protector off. Well, Rod Gardenhire credits Tom Kelly pretty much for everything in his managerial career.
Yeah, brought him to the big leagues. He was his third base coach. There's Tom Kelly. He was a good manager. No nonsense manager. Old school.
Down goes Wilson. Coleman gets a strikeout, 2 away. Going to bring up Byron Buxton. Tigers pitching today has limited the Twins to only 4 hits. Strike one. Buxton hit a ball through the middle of the infield his last time up, which should have been a single. He raced into second with a double.
And probably the only guy in the major leagues that could stretch that single into a double. Let's take a look at it, as a matter of fact. I think they got it queued up. He hit a ball right past the shortstop, and look at Buxton. 7.9 seconds from the time he made contact until the time he slid in safely at second base. He's running so fast, Mario, he almost slid past the bag.
Which these days is an issue. Swing and a miss. Buxton out of there, and Coleman a 1-2-3 7th. Let's go to the 8th. Casey Mize right now considered perhaps the #1 overall pick. The Tigers have that selection, but this guy can do it.
And look at this, Mario. 133 strikeouts. He's only walked 10 batters this year. They're hitting 189 against Casey Mize. He's 9-4. And every single scout that I've talked to said this guy is pretty much big league ready. I mean, fastball sits 95, 97, 98. He's got an incredible split-fingered fastball as well. So he looks the part, and I don't know if the Tigers are going to take him, but if they don't take him, he'll be chosen shortly after that.
Yeah, that split finger pitch that he possesses is deadly, and so we'll see how the Tigers want to go. They certainly have a lot of pitching stockpile already in their minor league system.
Well, they also believe that there's some upside as far as the breaking ball is concerned with Mize. Right now doesn't have a great feel for the breaking ball, although he will throw some good ones. It's probably his 3rd best pitch as we speak.
Leonis swings and misses.
We ran into was it Greg Olson in Baltimore, whose son goes to Auburn, and so he has seen him pitch a ton. There's Greg Olson, a former reliever, former closer in the big leagues, and he talked about Mize, and he said he's the best pitcher he's seen this year, and he's pretty close to big league ready.
Well, it's one of those years that doesn't have that standout position player that stands above everybody else.
No Machados, no Harpers.
No, not in this draft. Now they do have some good players. As Martin goes down swinging, Nick Madrigal's name is certainly mentioned out of Oregon State, and they also have.
There's a catcher somewhere too, right?
Yeah, Alec Boehm is an infielder, and Joey Bart out of Georgia Tech is the catcher you're talking about.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. That #1 pick carries a little bit of pressure with it because you don't want to miss. One gone. Here's Castellanos.
And Hildenberger knows the reputation of Nicholas Castellanos and the fact that he loves to swing at first pitches. Therefore, that first pitch wasn't even close. Nick 1 for 3 on the day. If Nick's able to get a base hit here, it'll be 4 consecutive games that Nick has had at least 2 hits in the contest.
(2-0) Castellanos doubled in his first at bat. Now 3-0.
I'm trying to think if we've ever seen Nick swing 3-0. I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has the green light. Doesn't necessarily mean that he will swing. Hildenberger hasn't been close. Good fastball there at 90. Good game for Victor today.
Ground ball left side of the infield, right through and by the diving Adrianza.
Yeah, right on cue. That would be 4 consecutive games with at least 2 knocks for the Tigers' talented right fielder.
It's going to be it. Hildenberger coming out of the game. Paul Molitor has signaled to the bullpen with Victor coming up. You want to turn him around, bat right-handed. Tigers holding on to a 2-run lead here, trying to tack on. We're in the 8th. We'll be back. Draft and here are the top position players in the 2018 draft according to MLB.com. Nick Madrigal here is a guy that's only 5'7", but they say, Rod, he can really play. And Jared Kelenic is the top high school player. The one downside with Kelenic is he plays in Wisconsin, so they don't get as much competition up there.
No, they don't play that many games. But one thing about the high school players nowadays, Mario, they have so many showcases across the country where a guy like Jared could go and play with the best players in the country, whether they be from California, Texas, Florida. They all get him together, and if he can hold his own with those guys, then he might most definitely be that high round draft choice.
And he has. The Madrigal kid is really, really talented. And, you know, I don't know. I guess when you look at guys and you see someone 5'7", you kind of pause a little bit.
Well, Dustin Pedroia, when he came out of Arizona State, there were a lot of people that frowned on taking him in the very first round. The Boston Red Sox didn't bat an eye in taking Dustin Pedroia in the second round, and we've all seen what Dustin's gone on to do in his career. Sometimes guys like Madrigal, guys like Dustin Pedroia, guys like Jose Altuve, you don't measure those guys by their stature. You measure them by what they show you on the baseball field. Because Jose Altuve is about 5'6", man. He plays the game like he's 6'5".
This looks like a double play off the batter, Victor Martinez, and it is. Hard hit ball right at the shortstop, Adrianza, and that'll take care of the Tigers in the 8th.
Play of the game. How about the work that Lewis Coleman did here today? Came in the bottom half of the 6th inning, and he got one big out from Michael Fulmer, and that was a pop-up to Jacoby Jones. Then he punched out the 2 to end the bottom half of the 7th inning. What a job by Lewis Coleman. Now they've turned the ball over to their 8th inning guy, Joe Jimenez.
Big Joe is on in a wall-side windows pitching change. 26th appearance already for Jimenez.
It's the first appearance of the series for Jimenez. He's got 8 holds. He's got a 2.78 ERA. He's been awfully consistent out of the bullpen all year long. They need that consistency once again here today. Fastball 93 to 97. Real good slider and a usable changeup.
Well, he will face the top of the lineup. It's going to be Dozier, Kepler, and Rosario. Dozier looks at a strike. 97 from Joe.
And you can't locate a 97-mile-per-hour fastball any better than that last one Joe was able to locate on the outside black right at Grayson Griner's glove. Going right back out there again.
The check swing roller is foul. So Jimenez now will tie his teammate Daniel Stumpf for appearances so far this year at 26. Buck Farmer is among the top 10 as well with 24 appearances. Two and two on Dozier. He is 1 for 3, doubled and scored in the first. And that has been the only run for Minnesota in this game. Michael Fulmer went 5 2/3. Coleman came on for an inning and a third, and now Jimenez. Gone to 3 and 2 on Dozier. Tigers this year have been outscored by 18 runs in the 6th and 7th innings. They've gotten beyond that today. Now they're trying to close it out. Hammered foul down the left field line. Dozier continues to perform well against the Tigers. He had 5 homers against them last year. He's got 4 doubles against them already this year. And now Dozier is drawing a walk. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Leadoff man on in a 2-run game. Here is Kepler. Ball 1. Kepler has fanned twice in this game. He's also walked.
Yeah, Kepler has struggled with right-handed pitching lately. He hasn't struggled, however, against lefties. Jimenez needs a ground ball.
2-0.
It looks like Dozier is entertaining the thought of stealing second base. Jimenez awfully slow and deliberate toward home plate, and a lot of times as we take a peek at Chris Bosio strolling out to the mound and to have a conversation with Jimenez and the infielders, a lot of times, Mario, if you're Dozier over at first base and you know that Jimenez is really concentrating on throwing a strike, you think that he's forgotten about you.
Sure.
And therefore you get a really good jump and you try to get a jump to exploit that. We'll see if that's what Dozier's thinking.
The scoreboard right now is making sure people know. Well, it went away, but they had letters over the scoreboard saying "not Gardy" because the first 2 games of the series, when Boz would walk out to the mound, here you go, not Gardy. When Boz would walk out, they'd give him a big round of applause, thinking it was Gardy. Actually put "not Gardy" on the scoreboard.
Now, you would think that most of the really intelligent fans here in Minneapolis know when Gardy walks to the mound, he's been here for 13 years.
You would think.
Wow, he got some help right there. That was ball 3, and Kepler helped him out. Not a strike. Thank you very much.
That right there is Gardy. Here's a 2-1.
Good
Run
pitch.
around. 2-2 now on Kepler.
What a weapon. Changer. At 89, really good pitch.
Got the call there from Whitson.
We need a few calls.
Right back up the middle. Oh, what a play by Iglesias to tag the bag and then turn 2.
Do it, Candelita.
Iglesias kept his foot on the bag and fielded that ball. A circus play out there, 2 gone.
That's his nickname. He brought that from Cuba. Nice job here. Slowed down by Jimenez. 1 foot on the bag. Iglesias grabs the ball. He's got both of his hands right down there in the area where he's going to throw from. Look at Iglesias. Not only is he gloved, but he's got the right hand down there where he picks the ball. He takes it, and then he just takes the glove and flips it over to first base. Talk about well done. And there's that ground ball we were looking for, too.
Fortunately, Jimenez did not touch that ball. He was trying to knock it down with a bare hand, and once it got through, you got 2.
He didn't redirect it?
Didn't look like it, did he? I don't think he touched it. 2 away.
Big play.
Here is Rosario. Down the right field line, foul.
He can hit a high fastball.
Single, fly ball single, and an RBI for Rosario. slap to left, another base hit. So he is on with a 2-out single, third hit of the game. Here's the upcoming pitching matchups presented by Wallside Windows. You've got the White Sox coming in Friday night.
Yeah, the very talented Ronaldo Lopez, high-octane fastball, losing record, but a respectable earned run average. Santiago and Shields will follow him. The Tigers will counter with Fires. Liriano nearly pitched a no-hitter his last time out, and Blaine Hardy going to get his third major league start against the White Sox.
Strike one on Escobar. Tigers have turned 2 double plays in the last 3 innings. They got one off the bat of Escobar in the 6th. Oh, 2. Jimenez replacing Coleman, who went an inning and a third, retired all 4 batters that he faced. Presley and Rodney. Rodney, the Twins closer. Swing and a miss, and Escobar is out. So are the Twins. No runs, walk, single, 1 left. Jimenez stops off the mound. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. All right, gentlemen, Nico Goodrum will lead things off. Nico, big game. He is homer to this one, a 2-run shot. And right now that is the difference in this game. It's been 3-1 since the Goodrum homer in the 4th.
And first at bat of the evening, excuse me, the afternoon for Nico Goodrum, batting right-handed.
Home run was his 5th of the year. Goodrum and then Hicks and Jones. 3-1. Tigers have the lead in search of a victory to snap a 5-game losing streak.
Taylor Rogers, the left-hander on the mound, he's a slender fella. Yeah, but he tops out at about 94. He has a curveball that he likes a lot.
Drill to left field. That ball is hit deep, and it's going to go up against the base of the wall. Nico hustling for 2, and he is safe.
Ooh, look out, Nico.
Goodrum with a terrific slide to avoid the tag, and he's in there with his second extra base hit of the day.
That was an absolute missile off the gate in left field, and Nico Goodrum showing the Minnesota Twins the guy that they had. He was a number 2 draft choice for them back in 2010. Hit a bullet off the wall, and Cave made a real nice play, nice throw. Nico with a hustling slide, he slid to the proper side of the bag, and to make sure he was able to get there safely.
He had to turn it on too, because that ball came right back to Cave.
Look at the slide though, beautiful slide. He made it very difficult for Cave to throw him out and for Dozier to apply the tag.
That'll be it for Rogers, with Hicks coming up. Another pitching change. We'll be back. In the ninth, and back to the bullpen go the Minnesota Twins. Ryan Presley is on.
And we saw Presley last night, and Presley's got a really good arm. Fastball's firm, 94 to 96. He's got a pretty good slider 89 miles an hour. And he's got a curveball, so he's got 50% with the fastball, and then a mixture of between the other 50%, the slider and the curve.
John Hicks 0 for 3, including a double play ball.
This is a very important at bat here for John Hicks. He needs to make sure that he tries to get Nico Goodrum over to third base if he hits something to the right side of the infield.
Shane Green loosening in the Tigers pen.
And Nico Goodrum, because Dozier is playing kind of shallow and also Morrison is playing shallow, if he wants to go over there on the ground ball, he needs to make sure the ball's not hit too hard at those two gentlemen, because they will try to throw him out.
To the corner it goes, and leaping up against the wall, but it's back into the seats. Kepler gave it a shot.
And there aren't many times where you'll see a first baseman or a second baseman do what I just mentioned, but it happens on occasion, so you have to be aware of that fact.
Now the 1-2. He'll get back out of play as well. Tigers will enjoy an off day tomorrow before they wrap up for that 12-game homestand. And the month of June right around the corner. Chop foul, third base side.
Has to make Nico Goodrum feel really good. The fact that the Minnesota Twins slowed him down the first couple of days of the series, but he hit a big homer today, big double, and playing against a lot of his friends, guys that he's been playing with the last 8 years in Minnesota's organization. There were a lot of ties, Mario, between these two squads coming into this series. We talked about Nico and Gardenhire and Favre and Little and
Liriano.
Anderson, Liriano. Then on the other side, you've got Fernando Rodney. A lot of similarities, a lot of Bobby Wilson.
Little chopper toward third, going to be a tough play, and he'll hold it. Escobar decides to hang on. Infield single for Hicks, so he gets the job done by advancing the runner.
He didn't do it the conventional way, but it works, and he gets a base hit out of it. Swinging bunt.
Two on, nobody out. Here is Jacoby Jones.
A big at bat for Jacoby. Here's where a young player like Jacoby just needs to slow the heartbeat down, get something up in the strike zone, something that you can drive into the outfield. You don't want to swing at anything in the dirt because you're over aggressive in this situation.
The Twins pulling the infield in. Ball one.
That's a good take right there by Jacoby. And make Presley get the ball up in the strike zone.
Tigers now are up to 9 hits, 3 runs on 9 hits in the ball game.
Ooh, it's a good one to hit right there.
One and two. Jones is 0 for 3, strikeout, 2 groundouts. Had a big game yesterday as you scope out the Tiger box. A lot of hits for the Tigers, but right now only 3 runs. Drilled to center field. That's a base hit. Jacoby Jones comes through with an RBI single, 3 straight hits, and the Tigers lead 4-1.
What a patient at bat by Jacoby. He laid off the off-speed stuff down. He got himself in a predictable fastball count. He didn't get the fastball, but he got a breaking ball, and then the swing was short and quick and compact. What a job by Jacoby. Look at this swing. Very patient. It's almost like he knew what he's going to get.
Grayson Griner now. The Tigers lead by 3. Still nobody out in this inning, so they've got a shot to really bust this open. Nico got it started with a double. Single for 3 for Grayson Griner, his base hit in the 4th. 2-1.
Presley has a good fastball 95 to 96 with a lot of life on it, but the majority of the pitches that he's thrown since coming into the game have been off-speed stuff. Now he's forced into throwing a fastball.
Shane Green was warming up. Things have quieted down now in the Tigers bullpen. Low.
I believe regardless of how many runs the Tigers score here, Shane Green still will be pitching the ninth.
Greeny trying to. I've always wondered about closers or relievers in particular when there's a long inning.
Trying to pace himself.
Exactly. Pace themselves during warm-up. Now the 3-2. Walked him, and that's going to load the bases. Griner gets a walk. Still nobody out. It's going to bring Wilson out to the mound. And also the pitching coach, Garvin Alston.
Let's take a look at Michael Fulmer's day for those of you that are just tuning in, or those of you that did not catch his mastery today. He had a pretty good fastball. First pitch strikes, 11 of 23. Had a few 3-ball counts, but he really threw a lot of fastballs aggressively. I mean aggressively inside, and kept these Minnesota Twins hitters off balance all day long. And then when he got finished throwing that fastball, he'd go to the breaking ball or the changeup. It was a very good outing for Michael Fulmer. The one thing he wanted to accomplish was to get over 100 pitches, which he did today for the second time this year. Had 5 strikeouts. He did walk 3, gave up 1 earned run. He's in line to get the win.
Infield in now against Iglesias. And there's a strike to Jose.
Michael also threw, of the 112 pitches he threw today, 43 of those were above 95 miles an hour. As a matter of fact, he was 110 pitches in. He was still throwing 97.
Sharply hit ball, and Dozier comes home. He'll get the force there.
Highway robbery.
It's played by Dozier, who's made a couple of really good plays in this series.
He won a Gold Glove last year, and so he's a pretty good defender at second base. Infield in, 1 hopper, shot off the bat of Iglesias, snared by Dozier. They can only get the 1 out.
They are still loaded now for Machado. Two. Dixon today is 0 for 3. 4-1. Tigers have added 1 more here in the 9th. Swing and a miss. Machado is out, and there are 2 gone. First strikeout for Presley. We'll bring up Martin. Big swing there by Martin.
97 with that fastball from Ryan.
Leonis, an infield single. That was back in the 1st. He scored a run. That snapped an 0 for 20 skid for Martin. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top that time. Martin couldn't stop. 1-2 on Leonis. We have seen him swing a lot and miss since coming back out.
We really have. I mean, timing a little bit off. He did hit the ball really hard his first time up today. They've been throwing him a lot of fastballs upstairs, and he's been swinging underneath them.
Just got a piece there.
And when Martin makes you get the ball down, he's at his best, hitting line drives, ground balls.
Martin, a good example is here of a guy that was going well. All of a sudden, an injury hits, and all of a sudden, in 2 weeks, you kind of lose that time.
Right.
Slow roller back toward Dozier. And that'll end the inning. Tigers will be settling for 1 run. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. Shane Green will protect a 4-1 lead.
Trying to bookend the road trip with a victory. Coming up after the game on Tigers Live, we'll take you into the clubhouse. We'll catch up with Nico Goodrum. You know, he'd really been scuffling on this trip. We'll find out what got him going here this afternoon. And Ron Gardenhire was looking for more energy out of his team today. Did he get what he was looking for? We'll hear from him as well. Immediately following the game on Tigers Live, John Keating and Simo in the Coliseum studio, guys.
All right, Mick, Shane Green is on now to guard this 3-run lead, his 23rd appearance of the year.
And Shane Green has 10 saves in 13 chances, 422 earned run average. He's in his first full season as the closer for the Tigers.
Morrison, Cave, Adrianza due up here in the bottom of the 9th.
And all 3 guys bat left-handed against Shane.
Greeny trying to shake off the effects of that 2-run homer by Mitch Haniger in the 9th inning, final game of that series in Seattle. And he'll throw strike 1 to Morrison. Shifting with Machado in shallow right. Fly ball, shallow left field. Jones. 1 gone. We'll bring up Jake Cave. Tigers with leading after 8 this year are 16-2. And Green trying to make sure that goes to 17-2. Cave over 3, 2 fly balls and a strikeout. Bouncing ball left side, Iglesias. Cave is out, 2 gone. Adrianza will not bat. Robbie Grossman will pinch hit. He is the last chance for the Twins. Grossman played in the first 2 games in the series. 0 for 3 career against Shane.
Can you think of why he's pinch hitting for Adrianza?
No, actually. I was kind of sitting here wondering that myself, what I missed.
I mean, I'm thinking, okay, he must be 5 for 5 against Shane Green or something, you know?
Throw him in there. Slapped out of play 0-2. So Green now has the thing reduced to 1 strike. 4-1 Tigers lead, trying to skip town with at least 1 win in this series.
And nothing better than winning the final game of a road trip and having a nice flight home, especially when you have the evening off. You've got the next day off as well. And usually the Tigers, or any team, when you travel to the West Coast, you might have a day off while you're out there, but the Tigers have not had a day off. Went to Seattle, no days off. Came straight here to Mini. Played the last 3 days.
Here's the 1-2. 2-2 now on Grossman.
And Ron Gardenhire will feel good about getting at least 1 win here if Shane Green's able to get this final out, this final strike.
High fly ball right field, should do it. Castellanos under it. And the Tigers win the final game of the series. 4-1 your final score. Now we send you to the Call Sam Studios. John Keating, Craig Monroe with Tigers Live postgame.